This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Go inside Mama's Pizzeria coming up in 15 minutes. Get your tickets in. Email ftm@vsin.com or tweet as well. All your long shots, your creative parlays. We'll get to that. And then we talk Week 0 and Week 1 college football with Brad Powers in half an hour. Pauly Howard, Mike Somich, Mitch back on Monday. It's time for Kevin Rogers. Joins us now from PrizePicks at Rogers Picks on X. He's on the progressive guest line. Eclectic mix here as we get a little. There's a Malinsky special in the WNBA, which we'll get into coming up. We'll start with baseball. How you doing, Mr. Rogers?
Pauly, Mike, good to talk to you.
You got it, my friend. Let's start with the big one with the Yankees and Red Sox. You have some good numbers here, first 5, and some K props. Run us down here as now the Yankees have jumped Boston in the standings, and it's 7 meetings left. Giolito against Heel. What do you have?
Yeah, Paul, first with the Yankees, a 6-0-2 run the last 8 games in the first 5 innings, and we saw how well they played against the Rays those last 2 games in Tampa. And Boston, who was playing very well, they've gone backwards, 3-7 in the first 5 in the last 10 games. And as far as the strikeout props in this game, Lucas Giolito, 4-1 to the under his last 5 starts on a strikeout prop, and that works out well to hit an under because the Yankees, when they face or their opposing pitchers facing the Yankees in the Bronx, 6-2 under run. So look for Giolito. I know the under is juiced; it's like minus 140 or so, but it would point to Giolito not getting a lot of strikeouts tonight.
It says head a little further down south on the East Coast. The Astros taking on the Orioles down in Baltimore. We've got Alexander on the hill for the Astros, Young on the hill for the Orioles. Orioles are a slight favorite here right now, minus 125, coming back plus 105 the other way on the Astros. And you're again looking first 5 and Ks here.
Yeah, Mike, first of all, with this Brandon Young who's starting, he no-hit the Astros for almost 7 innings his last time out, and they just played in Houston. So we'll see what happens now the second time around he's facing them. And Paul knows how bad the Astros offense has been. 2-5-1 run in the first 5 innings. The last 8 games, they've been shut out 5 times in the first 5 innings in that span. And Baltimore's played better in the first 5. 8-3-1 run the last 11 or 12 games, rather, in the first 5. Now, as far as Brandon Young, he had 6 strikeouts against Houston last week on a 3.5 total. Tonight's up to 4.5. So you kind of wonder, will the Astros offense finally get going? Opposing pitchers, 6-1 to the under the last 7 against the Orioles. But Mr. Alexander, Jason Alexander, not Costanza, he's starting for Houston tonight. 3-1 to the over on his last 4 starts on K-props. He's had 6 strikeouts 3 times. So maybe that streak comes to an end because Alexander's actually pitched well when he's taken them out for the Astros.
Excellent. We got Cardinals in Tampa tonight. They tinkered with the schedule because of the Bucs preseason game. I want Sonny Gray at home, not on the road. What do you have with Sonny Gray here against the reeling Rays?
Yeah, kind of a funky spot here, Paul. Like you mentioned, Thursday, Friday, Sunday series for these 2 teams. And Sonny Gray, great at home. On the road, he's led once in the first 5 innings. Only in his last 5 road starts, just once through the first 5 innings. So he's had some struggles, and some of them not his fault. Some of them they trailed 1-0, 2-0. It's just not getting any offense. But on the flip side, the Rays, after that very long road trip, and they didn't play very well against the Yankees, 2-5-3 in the last 10 games in the first 5 innings. They've been shut out in 3 of the past 4. So you wonder now if they get turned around. But again, no rest for the weary for this team. If they lose those 2 to the Yankees, now they turn back around with St. Louis. The Cardinals, not as long of a trip coming from Miami to Tampa, so maybe it benefits St. Louis. And we'll see if Gray can get back on track, but not strong numbers for either of these teams.
Yeah, Saturday's game shifted to Sunday so that there's room for the Bucs-Bills preseason game. So you've got preseason football, moving regular season baseball around, tells you which sport is king there in the viewer's eyes. Let's head over to the WNBA. We've got Minnesota taking on Atlanta, the Lynx heading into Atlanta to take on the Dream. And this is a interesting spot for the Dream here.
Absolutely, Mike. With Atlanta, first of all, in the first quarter, they are the best team in the WNBA. They're 23-12. So they have gone off to very good starts in these games. However, this is their first game back at home since August 3rd. They played 6 in a row, including 1 in Vancouver. They played 2 with Seattle, 1 in Seattle and 1 in Vancouver. and they went to Golden State, and they went to Vegas at the end and lost. So it's been a very long road trip for the Dream. And now they're back home to face a team with the best record in the WNBA, the Minnesota Lynx. And I want to give you guys this number on the Lynx. They trailed the Liberty after the first quarter in Tuesday's loss. The next game after the Lynx trail after the first quarter, they are 10-1-1 straight up and 10-2 against the spread in the first quarter. So Minnesota usually gets off to better starts after a poor start in the previous game. And the top scorer in the league, Nathisia Collier, we'll see if she comes back tonight. She had an ankle injury. There's rumors questionable, may not play, who knows. But regardless, Minnesota could be worth a look just because Atlanta back at home, it's been a long time for them.
You're damn right. That's a big-time Malinsky special. Good information. The Chicago Sky are a complete abomination. What's going on? They've dropped 14 of 15. I got a prop I'll give you on this game in a second. But Angel Reese is back in the lineup. What does that mean for the offense in the first quarter with the Sky, Kevin?
It's a little bit weird, Paul. You would think that her being back, that would mean more defense, but really it's not the case. That the Chicago Sky, when she came back the last game against Seattle, it was another over in the first quarter, which is now 5 in a row that she has played in, where we've seen the over hit in the first quarter. And in the previous 7 games that she was out, the under was 5-2. So figure that one out. That she was out of the lineup. You had slower starts. When she's in the lineup, it's been faster starts. And in fact, in the last few, it's not crazy overs. You had 40 points in the Seattle game 2020. You did have a 30-27 game against Washington, but also 24-18. So some of them are not really crazy numbers, but at the same time, Chicago facing a New York team. I wonder with New York here, kind of an interesting spot here, guys, just because they're off a few games against the Liberty in that WNBA Finals rematch. Do you get up for Chicago here as a heavy favorite? So it should be curious to see how the Liberty respond tonight.
That's a 4-point move in that game as well. It opened 11. Quid pro quo. Reese prop points is 13.5. She's gone over that 11 of the last 12. So this whole thing about, the me bounds and she's a rebounding machine, she's getting hers. And I know she was hurt for a while, but we're going back here. 11 of the last 12, she's gone over 13.5, which she's priced at tonight. Now, the question is, do they get blown out? That's the one thing you have to worry about. They could lose by 20 tonight. I mean, they're getting killed every single night other than that fiasco where they scored 38 points and came through the back door of the last game. But that's wild. What do you have on the Washington-Connecticut game?
Oh, you'll like this one, Paul. So Washington is a slight favorite against Connecticut tonight. They just lost to Connecticut 2 nights ago at home. But here's something I dug up, though. 5 times this season, the Mystics have been a road favorite. In those games in the first quarter, listen to this, the amount of points they've scored. 10, 9, 11, 14, and 13. And they've gone under all 5 times in the first quarter. For whatever reason, they've stunk in the first quarter as a road favorite. Road dogs have actually been decent, but a road favorite, they just don't show up in some of those games. So maybe look for a lower scoring game with the Mystics and the Sun. Also, Washington, lowest percentage from three-point land in the first quarter this year, 27.7%. So they can't shoot the ball, and they don't score on the road as a favorite. So look for an under in the first quarter with the Mystics and the Sun.
We've got the pizza jar segment coming up here in a second. And one of the bets on the pizza jar segment that I'm not sure about, that I want to ask you about, Kevin, here, is specifically this Indiana Fever team and whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. Do you like the Fever to make or miss the playoffs? So I know how to answer this pizza jar bet here in the next segment.
I think, Mike, they can make it. I don't see Caitlin Clark coming back anytime soon. There were reports that she tweaked an ankle, and I got to think she's just not healthy. But they're 19 and 16. I know they lost Sophie Cunningham. She had a knee injury the other day, so they're running out of players quickly. But also, when you just look at just the rest of the league, even the Eastern Conference, the teams below that, like New York and Atlanta will be in. Chicago's out, Connecticut's out, Washington's a few games under 500. It's just Indiana's just built up enough equity at 19 and 16. I think they get in as long as they can tread water the rest of the way. I think they end up getting in. Now, I don't know how far they can go, but they've done enough without Caitlin Clark to probably get in.
Do you have any strong K props you want to give out? That some trends and numbers before we get out of here in less than 90 seconds, please?
As far as team props, Pauly?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a couple here. Number one, the Seattle Mariners are back home tomorrow against the A's. Opposing pitchers 8-2 to the over. in the last 10 games and what Seattle has done against opposing starting pitchers recently. 12, 12, and 10 strikeouts in the Phillies series. Now, granted, those were all left-handed pitchers they were facing. They get a righty coming up tomorrow when they take on the A's. But also the Mets heading into today, opposing pitchers 13-5 overrun when facing the Mets. Also, we have a new leader as far as strikeouts against opposing pitchers. The Los Angeles Angels at 733, they passed the Colorado Rockies. So the Angels, they have been on a 15-6 overrun with their strikeouts. And on the flip side of Colorado, going into today, they were on a 9-3 underrun. They went under against Ohtani last night. They've been a little bit better with the strikeouts. The Rockies, the playoffs started today, and they would have the standings from 2 weeks ago. They'd be in, but the whole season you got to be in, so it wouldn't really matter. But
you got it.
They've been a little bit better, though, of late.
Great information. Thanks for a few minutes, and we'll catch up soon. Well done, sir.
All right, Paul, Mike, thank you so much.
Kevin Rogers, PrizePicks at Rogers Picks on X. The response has been incredible. People can't wait for these contests. I love what Humans does on Friday night. Think you're better than the experts? Prove it in the Edge Boost Average Joe contest. Same format as the Circa Friday Football Invitational, but contestants are average Joes instead of the pros. Free to play. Register anytime throughout the season for weekly and quarterly prizes. The grand prize, a spot in next year's field of the Circa Invitational. Sign up now, vsin.com/Joe. vsin.com/Joe. Free to play, weekly and quarterly prizes, and you get a spot next year's field. It's awesome. The reaction's been fantastic. vsin.com/Joe. Pizzeria. Pizza bets coming up next on Follow the Money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Hungry for a winner? Sometimes all you need is a slice.
You make this pizza?
We swap pepperoni for parlays and give you alternate lines instead of anchovies.
I'm telling you, this pizza idea is really gonna happen.
From our kitchen to your wallet, sweat with us and throw some pizza money on it.
Double meatball, pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions, extra mozzarella.
Welcome to Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria.
Mitch and Pauly's Pizzeria Tip Jar, sponsored by Mama's Pizza. Mama's Pizza, the only place where your pizza money always gets you a win. 15 locations. Check them out, mamaspizza.net. The Mama's Pizza on Instagram. We'll start with Mike Somich. You got a couple pizza plays. What do you have?
I do. I love, I don't know if you like these. I love betting division win parlays because it gives you juice through the entire season. You've got specific teams that you get to kind of root on, and it allows you to play some of the teams that the price might have gotten away from you a little bit because they've been overbet to win some of these divisions. And I was putting this one together this morning, and I popped into the account. I actually like this one quite a bit here, Pauly. I'm going to start with the top three there. So these 6 division winners in the NFL. First 3, the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Bills. Those are pretty self-explanatory. I think we'd be surprised if those aren't your division winners. I'll take the Bucs out of the NFC South, who I think are clearly the best team, right? And so I'm not as high on the Falcons. I don't really like the Panthers to be able to come out of there, so I like the Bucs there. Give me the Texans in the AFC South, which is a team, again, that I'm high on the most, and I don't really love the Colts. I don't really love the Titans down there, so I'm not a big Jacksonville guy, so the Texans are an easy one for me to put in there. And then the Packers, who I made the case for earlier at plus 250 to be able to win their division, you put the 6 together, 48-1. That's a pretty good pizza there. Like 48-1 for what I think is 5 highly likely division winners and 1 longer shot to be able to get the job done in the NFL.
That's not crazy at all. I like that. How about an Super Bowl exacta?
Let's get a little crazier, right? We talked about liking the Bills as the 1 seed in the AFC, and I mentioned how this Packers team to me is a team that can come through the NFC, and they're a team that is really gelling together at the right time. This is a younger team. Everyone's 3-4 years out of the draft. If you see multiple leaps at multiple positions and the offensive line plays as well as I think it can, I think the Packers could be the best team in the NFC. You can get Bills over Packers as an exact finish. That's 70-1. I'll take the Quinella or the exacta box, if you will, here.
Yep.
Just Packers-Bills Super Bowl. The two of them make the Super Bowl, 45-1. And I did double-check this, too, which you should always do with these bets. I went in and I parlayed the Bills with the Packers on DraftKings just to win their conferences, and it paid just short of 45-1. So the 45-1 still good value here inside this specific market, which is the Super Bowl matchup market over on DraftKings.
That's excellent. Very good. And a ticket that just cashed is the Pizza Money Henley first-round leader with golf. Sorry, bookies. Reds make the playoffs. Buccaneers miss. Luka MVP. Penn State makes the playoff. Fever missed the playoffs. 600-1. That's not crazy. A lot has to happen.
Not crazy. I don't love the Bucks leg, but outside of that, I mean, 600-1. And look, the Bucks are kind of an old football team. If the injury bug bites them, Pauly, they could be in a little bit of trouble there, especially if Penix plays the way some people expect him to down in Atlanta. So I've seen crazier 600-1 tickets.
Okay, Bills Mafia on X. Arizona State, Liberty, Buffalo, Boise State, James Madison, Penn State. All conference winners. 704-1. I like it. The one that gives me pause is Buffalo. But I like James Madison, Penn State, Boise. Liberty's the favorite, choked last year. Big 12's wide open. A lot of people high on Arizona State. A lot has to happen, but a 700-1 ticket.
Again, I like the style of this. It's much like how I built the division winner style, right? You take some of what you believe are the free squares, right? With Liberty, who should win, JMU, who should win, Boise, who should win, Penn State. If you like Penn State, I get why you have them in there. And then you look at the Big 12, which is going to produce chaos, and you throw a price in there, and you see if you can get a monster payout on the parlay.
Oh boy, chicken dinner. We have a record here. Mariners win the American League. Padres win the National League. Bills win the AFC. Lions win the NFC. Oilers win the Stanley Cup. 7,000-1? Is that what that is? How long ago was that put in?
I mean, that's not terrible. Like the seven, like the Oilers. I'm kind of out on the Oilers winning the Stanley Cup, but I understand why you want to take a little bit of a shot there.
Yeah.
The Padres are playing good baseball. The Mariners made moves at the deadline. They're playing good baseball right now. There have been crazier 7,000-1 tickets. We'll put it that way, Pauly.
I like Andrew in Pennsylvania. Ravens win more games than the Bengals. Here's this market you were talking about. You can bet so much stuff, Mike. Ravens bet more wins than the Bengals. Notre Dame makes the playoff. Padres win the National League. Liverpool repeats in the Premier League, 50-1.
That one doesn't seem hard to hit at all, right?
No.
I mean, like Notre Dame's going to make the playoff, right? They would have to collapse. Something crazy would have to happen for them to miss this large of a playoff. The Ravens will win more games than the Bengals, so check those two boxes. And then Liverpool, your favorite, right?
Yeah.
And you've got the Padres in the NL. Like, I don't mind that at all at 50-1.
Be okay. Stop throwing Dylan Cease. The real Mr. ACL on X does a good job. Outputs in a lot of these, and he's hit a few. Tigers win the World Series. Penn State wins it all. Packers make the playoffs, 140-1.
Well, I agree with one of the three legs.
Yeah.
And I don't trust James Franklin. But again, 141-1, like, hey, why would anyone talk anyone off a 140-1 bet?
LSU wins the SEC. Chargers win the division. Lakers win the NBA title, 774-1. Ed in Michigan. Boy, the West is loaded, but Luka on a mission to prove something. But that's I can't get there. I'm with you with the Chargers, third place team.
Yeah, I like the idea if it's just three legs and it's still 774-1. So you don't need that many things to happen, right? So I like the idea of that. I disagree with all three of the bets, though, so that makes it a little hard to co-sign on that one. I do think we're going to have a revenge Luka tour this year with Skinny Luka in the NBA, but that West is, like you said, it's loaded out there. It's going to be tough to get through 4 rounds to win the NBA title.
Sinner wins the U.S. Open. Lynx win the WNBA title. Boise wins the Mountain West. The Eagles win the NFC 30-1. That's from Robert.
That one is hittable, too. I mean, you've got
hittable.
4 things there. I mean, the Sinner-Alcaraz thing, that's tough, right? Because of how well Alcaraz has played and what we've seen. Specifically, we just saw him win in Cincinnati again. We saw him win in the French. Like, that one feels like a coin flip, though. You have to pick one of the two. And the Lynx, obvious choice there in the WNBA. Again, Boise State, someone we believe is the best team in the Mountain West. And the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, right? They do have the best team on paper. It's whether or not you believe someone can go get them.
You have the couple from TMI, Ozzy? Okay. Where's one? Sorry, bookies. That's Ryan in Indiana, by the way, with that 600-1 ticket. One more. JT Tim 11. Crawford wins in boxing. 49ers, Cardinals, exacta. Cavs win the East 54-1. Who's Crawford fighting? Is he favored? Okay, so Crawford, 49ers, Cardinals, exacta 1-2, fading Stafford and the Rams. Cavs win the East, which I like, 54-1. That's not crazy. That's hittable.
I don't mind. Don't mind the Cavs. I think the Cardinals are going to be better. I don't mind putting the Cardinals there in second in that division.
Okay.
I think that division's wide open. You could tell me any one of those 4 teams win the division, any 4 run second, and you can make a case for it. I mean, that's how competitive that division is. It's why they weren't on my division parlay there. I like the Pistons in the East, but I do understand why you'd want to put the Cavs in there.
Okay. Crawford's a small dog in his fight. Took a bad beat last night. Mama's Pizza has your back. 15 locations. Feeding hungry Texans since 1968. It's the crust, baby. The crust, the dough, the ingredients, the garlic butter on the crust. Best pepperoni I've ever had. Best meat lovers. Best barbecue chicken. The wings are phenomenal. A pound of mozzarella on every large. Mama's delivers the crust that beats the spread every time. Fresh ingredients, award-winning pies, a flavor that's a guaranteed winner. And when it comes to pizza money, don't waste it on bad bets. Put it where it counts. On a hot slice from Mama's. Franchise opportunities available. You're thinking long-term value, 817-870-2571. 817-870-2571. Check them out, mamaspizzas.net. The Mama's Pizza on Instagram. Mama's Pizza, the only pick that always covers. The best. Oh, here's one. Here, he's got the Ollie Gordon. There you go. That's Wagyu money. Wagyu money. Look at that sucker. 1,000 to win.
You can get a better number.
I know. I know. Come on. At least he got 1,000 to 1. That's your big boy. And he dipped his toe in the water with the exactas as well. A Denver-Tampa exacta, 180 to 1. A Bills-Tampa exacta, 90 to 1. And a Kansas City-Tampa exacta, 100 to 1 for some Super Bowl exactas as well. Good job. We have fun doing it every week. That's a lot of fun. Send them in. We'll keep reading them with the creativity. FTM@VSiN.com, FTM@VSiN.com, or tweet as well with your long shots and your creative parlays now that football is ready to go, and there's a lot going on. Padres have tied it, 2-2 in the bottom of the 4th. Cease against Verlander, 3-1 Mets, top of the 5th. They have 2 on, 8-3 Dodgers in the 7th. Brewers beat the Cubs 4-1. Royals beat the Rangers 6-4. And the A's took out the Twins 8-3. Week 0's here. We got 5 games to go over Saturday. We'll talk week 1. We'll talk line moves, win totals, double shot with Brad Powers coming up next on Follow the Money. Pauly Howard, Mike Somich, live from Circa, Sirius XM Channel 158.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, welcome back. It's go time. Week 0 college football. Got some games to talk about Saturday. Lines continue to move week 1, and the great Brad Powers joins us now on the Progressive Guest Line. BradPowersSports.com at BradPowers7 on X. He's with Covers.com. He has an incredible newsletter, and his season previews phenomenal. And get that newsletter and subscribe as well that he sends out every single week. How you been? I hope you had a good summer. What's going on, my man?
I did. We're here. It's finally here for college football, though. You know, it's always here for me. I'm always studying it, but finally some games. I'm actually going to be week 1's great. Week 0's great. But as a bettor, I'm already looking forward to week 2, a different set of games and a different board.
Mm-hmm. Hey, how about the breaking news? The SEC will go with a 9-game conference schedule starting next year. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's next year that they're doing it, and on top of it, they're recommending that they have to play one, power conference team in the non-con, so 10 legit games. Where some of these schools were only playing 8, maybe 9 a season, so an extra tough game for a lot of schools. It probably hints at probably we're getting an expanded playoff. But I guess with the new college football playoff requirements, factoring more strength of schedule, they really leaned into it for the SEC. It means I think we're going to get some 9-3 teams in the playoff.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw your tweet too about it took 100 years to get away from the polls, to go to the BCS, and then it took 12 years to go from the BCS, and now the Big Ten says, how about a 2014 playoff? What the hell's going on?
Bracket creep. I mean, they're smelling that money, but I just be careful what you wish for. I mean, games just, a lot of the games then during the season don't really matter. So, it would have been nice. I think college football would be more interesting if Ryan Day, the Michigan game, cost him, instead of they got that other chance. They won the title. I just think, you're talking about a difference in just 1 year's time. We're talking Ryan Day would be on the hot seat, or, compared to being a defending champ, that's how much has changed. Going to a 12 team, I can only imagine going to a 24 team. I don't want to see 8-4 Iowa in the playoff. No disrespect to Iowa. Hell, I moved back to the Midwest. I'm nothing against the people there, but again, I don't want to see mediocre football come postseason.
Yeah, totally agree.
That was always the beauty of college football, is that every single Saturday mattered, that you had to show up. You had to win those football games. If you expand out to 24, you have 7 Big Ten teams. What, Minnesota would have made the playoff? Do we really need to see Minnesota in the playoff? And I get the idea of loving those home games in the playoff and the atmospheres that you got, but we always knew the atmosphere was going to be better if you played those playoff games at home versus at neutral sites. So ridiculous you're seeing the creep. Do you think the SEC, this move to 9 games next year and having the one out of conference game, is it all in response to having that expanded playoff if you do go to that 2014 playoff, or do you think this was coming down the line either way?
Probably coming down because, probably ESPN's pushing it and you want another conference game as far as, an extra more money in their pockets. So I think there was something to do with that. But I think certainly an expanded playoffs. And if they're factoring in more strength of schedule, then maybe we do see like a 9-3 Alabama getting over an 11-1 in Indiana, if that's what we're going to factor in. But I'm not really for it. I just look, extra games to bet. Sure, I'll bet them as a bettor. But as a fan, I'm out, because just imagine this. Imagine how big, week 1's pretty big, but imagine how bigger it would be in the BCS era. The Texas-Ohio State game would be everything. Everything's on the line in week 1. That's what I loved about college football. There was a sense of urgency every single week. Your life was on the line. I liked having that sense of urgency.
Okay, to week 0, we start with Farmageddon. We're going to Ireland. Kansas State 3-51. What do you think of the game to start the season?
Haven't bet it yet. There hasn't been too much movement, although there was a little bit of move on the over. I'm going to fade that move, especially in the first half. So if 24.5 under first half, not a best bet, but a bet that I'm willing to make. I think it's a slow start. Both teams are familiar with one another. Iowa State's, owned the series. They've won 4 of the last 5. They've covered 5 in a row. But I think both teams have a little bit of question marks. Both quarterbacks don't take care of the football great in their history. Avery Johnson had a couple of 4 interception games last year. We'll see if he's improved. Rocco Beck's thrown 7 pick sixes in his career. So whatever quarterback takes care of the football, ultimately is going to lead to the winner here. My power rankings say it should be 3. Lines 3. Pass on the side.
Second game to kick off here is going to be the UNLV Running Rebels, who have some expectations this year, taking on Idaho State. UNLV laying 26.5 right now in this one. Total sitting right around 65.5, depending on where you look. Do you have anything here, Brad?
I didn't. I'm glad that they posted it several days in advance, though. So kudos for the books for doing that. I do power rate FCS games. I made it 27.5, so I thought it was a very good number. There was some early 23.5s out there. A lot of uncertainty with UNLV. Entirely different roster, a talented roster, but a lot of these guys, a lot of talent, but they haven't necessarily produced at the college level. I like the Dan Mullen hire for now. Certainly going to be more offensive driven. You're going to play multiple quarterbacks. So I think that actually, is good for the over, good for if you want to back the favorite, because both quarterbacks are going to, impress. But I couldn't get to the window.
Okay. Western Kentucky opened 7.5 up to 10.5 against Sam Houston State. Total of 61. What do you think of this one here as Longo takes over for Sam Houston?
I got a big power ratings disparity here.
Yeah.
If this was week 4, week 5, and I had a little bit better grasp on both rosters, keep in mind, obviously Sam Houston State, new coach, entirely, unknown commodity, but Western Kentucky too, new offense coordinator, new quarterback. I liked that combo, but They only have a couple of returning starters on the entire team, and they, 44 transfers with 17 post spring. There's just, I got a big power ratings disparity. I'll make a bet on Sam Houston State plus 10.5, but not a big one, I typically would, just because it's week 0, and I don't know yet.
Fresno State taking on Kansas. Right now, you can get Kansas anywhere from 12.5 to 13-point favorites in the market. Game opened at 14, so we've seen a little bit of Fresno State money in this spot. Kansas has some expectations in the Big 12 this year. What do you make of this game? And do you think those expectations of the Big 12 are something that could come to fruition?
Yeah, here we go. We got a bet here. If I had to make one bet, and I have made this bet, if I had to make one bet on week 0, it'd be Kansas. I'm going to fade the move for 2 reasons. Number one, I'm not a big Matt Entz guy, the new Fresno coach. Oh, he won 2 national championships at North Dakota State. Hell, we could win a national championship at the FCS level coaching North Dakota State. And I just think it was interesting. His final year there was 2 years ago, because he was at USC last year coaching linebackers. They lost 4 games. It was their worst season in over a decade there. What happened when he left? Right back in business, winning the national championship at North Dakota State. Finally got over the hump. They couldn't beat South Dakota State for several years. They beat them not once but twice last year. So I'm not buying him. What I am buying on the Kansas side is the new remodeled stadium. They haven't had a home field advantage for several years. Didn't even play home games last year. They had to go to Arrowhead and play in a soccer stadium. So I think a refurbished stadium that really has the fans pumped up there, I think it'll be good at least for one game. And then I go back to my power ratings. I made it over to 14. In fact, closer to 17. So that'd be my best bet here, Kansas, week 0.
All right, excellent. You'll be sticking around for another segment. We'll get into week 1 and all the line moves that's happened in the summer as well. Brad Powers on the Progressive Guest Line with Covers.com, BradPowerSports.com. The late game, this is big. I mean, Hawaii's got to win this game as far as I'm concerned. Everyone's watching. It's on CBS. You're taking on everything's going wrong for. They fire the coach. You got Wright coming in. Luck's the GM. They were awful last year. Game open 2.5 with Stanford. Now Hawaii laying 2.5. Total of 50. They haven't won a game against a Power 4 opponent since 2019. What do you think of the game on CBS?
Yeah, it's another one where I'm actually looking to fade the move. I'm not there yet. You know what number I'm looking to get. I think we might eventually get there.
Yeah.
I'm looking to bet Stanford plus 3. I'm not buying it yet on Hawaii. I do like the new quarterback, Micah Alejado, although, he did play against one of the worst defenses in the country in his lone start last year in New Mexico. A lot of expectations, though. It kind of reminds me, these two teams played in week 1 a couple years ago to open up the season. All the money on Hawaii. Uh-huh. They almost beat Vanderbilt in week 0. And Stanford in the first game under Troy Taylor was able to beat Hawaii by 13, even though we had like a 7-point line move in the game. So I'm not calling for that, but I tend to think if we get to 3, I'm going to have a pretty decent bet on the Cardinal.
Okay, very good. That's a great way to start the action on week 0. We could roll on with Brad Powers coming up next. Some win totals he likes, Heisman talk, maybe some surprising quarterback news and situations, biggest line moves from the summer as well, and some differences with his power ratings. And it continues. We got a game Thursday afternoon that continues to crash next Thursday. Goes off at 2:30 Pacific. We'll talk about that coming up as we roll on here on Follow the Money. Pauly Howard, Mike Somich, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. MLB scores as well coming up, and we'll roll on with Brad Powers Rapid Fire. One more segment coming up.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Pauly Howard, Mike Somich, Travers Picks coming up with Mike in 10 minutes. Padres now 6-2 in the 5th against the Giants, and the Mets have blown a 3-run lead, 4-3 Nats now as we go to the 6th. Double shot with Brad Powers for Covers.com, BradPowerSports.com, at BradPower7 on X. On the Progressive Guest Line, rapid fire college football. You're waiting for a 3 with Stanford Saturday night. You mentioned this game the last time you were on in the summer. Did you also take Arizona against Hawaii?
Yeah, it was 10.5, 11-ish. I said, yeah, it's going close to 14. And yep, 2-3 months later, that's where it's went. I'm a part of it. Are you laying it now with Arizona? No, I would probably wait, honestly, because, I mean, the market seems to like Hawaii to beat Stanford. And if that's the case, maybe it comes down a little bit because, Joe Q Public's going, Hawaii beat Stanford there. They should be able to compete with an Arizona team that really disappointed last year. Part of me, why I haven't gotten too involved with Stanford so much, is I'm kind of secretly rooting for Hawaii to win this game, to look really impressive. Then there's kind of, we got that big win over Stanford and over national TV at home, and now there's film on them. I've said this time and time again. Teams that have a game under their belt advantage, it's not an advantage, it's a disadvantage in current college football because it's better to not have played a game, but to have film on your opponent. So I'm kind of Hawaii squeaks out a close win against Stanford. I love Arizona next week.
Very good.
How about,
sorry, Mike.
You'd love to catch your 3 here and then have Hawaii win by 2, right? But look, impressive enough that you're then able to bet back and get the Arizona piece.
Yeah, when I say Stanford, I'm not looking to bet big. I just, looking to make a bet. I'm itching. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I mean, there's games on. Let's go.
Yeah, it's on TV. Yeah, I've had football for a long time. You got to get involved there. Now, before we get into the week 1 slate, the marquee game obviously involves Texas, and everyone's got to take on Arch Manning. I've heard that he is like the second coming. He's just going to be unbelievable. And then it seems like the low tier take is he'll be a good quarterback, but it might take a little bit while for him to develop. Where are your expectations around Arch, and is it someone that you've been willing to invest in with the Heisman Trophy?
Well, I did invest and bet him because at Circa there they hung a 12-1, and the market was painted 8-1. And you give me, even though I'm not a huge fan of it, you give me the right number on anybody, I'll bet on him or against him. So that was just a numbers play there, and plus trying to hedge a bet a little bit. If he does impress and plays well against the Buckeyes and Texas does win, he's not going to be 12-1 anymore. He's not going to be 8-1. Hell, he's probably not even going to be 6-1. After game 1, he might be 3-1 to win the Heisman. So that was more of a strategy than anything. But I don't like him in this game. I kind of like Ohio State. I mean, contrary to what Paul Feinbaum said today, that they shouldn't even play this game. Texas is going to win by double digits. But poor old Ohio State, the defending champs, who beat Texas in Texas's last game. I don't even know why they would show up with the best offensive player and the best player in college football, and Jeremiah Smith, and the best defensive player. I'm leaning towards Ohio State here. Preferred, my favorite bet was I was in front of this under move here. I like the under in the game.
What's your favorite week 1 play?
As of right now, I like Kansas week 0. And we talked about Arizona. If Hawaii wins, that would probably be my favorite bet. I would be itching to bet that game on that Sunday and anxious to see what they'd reopen it.
You're big time
I'm boring. A lot of stuff that I've given out, unders, Notre Dame, Miami under, Tennessee, Syracuse under, Ohio State, Texas under. I would go with the hat. I'd still, the lines moved 4 or 5 points from when I bet it. I still would lay it with Alabama. I'm not buying Florida State.
Okay. Well, I remember that when the summer you were anti-Cal big time and anti-Colorado big time. So it'd be pro-Oregon State that moved and pro-Georgia Tech that moved.
Yeah, I have both of those tickets in pocket. Boy, Oregon State Cal is really important for me because I bet Cal's win total under, bet Oregon State's win total over, kind of a coin flip game, so a lot riding on the line. I don't know. It's late one for me. What is that, like 11 Eastern start? So that'll test my limits right out of the gate to see if I can hang that late East Coast time. But yeah, that's a sneaky good game. That's the type of game that I love week 1. Very competitive price game. Get an idea about both teams. But man, I think Cal's totally discombobulated. Now they're starting a true freshman. He's talented, but did they promise him? Is that why that kid ended up transferring out of Oregon after 2 weeks? They promised him the job. Who knows what's going on there between Rivera. And I like Wilcox, but I just think he's in a really bad spot. I expect to be fading Cal a lot this year.
After living on the East Coast for 5 years, being back on the West Coast, you really appreciate, as a sports nut, being on the West Coast because those games start and end a lot earlier for you. It makes it a lot easier to be able to watch all of them. You mentioned the itch. And next Thursday night, I think a lot of people are going to have the itch as we've got a standalone Thursday night college football game. Boise State taking on South Florida. Boise State opened 7. We've seen some South Florida money, so those 7s have evaporated in the market. Did you play anything in the Boise State-South Florida game?
Shoot, I mean, the 9.5 is what was available out there early this summer. I was greedy, hoping for a 10, and I just missed the boat. I understand the original move. Anything above a touchdown, it's, take the home dog in the heat and humidity and a late afternoon type of game there. I get that, but numbers do matter. And I myself, I've been wanting to be more contrarian, at least this year in week 1. My numbers would say lean Boise now that it's, gone under a touchdown. I haven't bet it yet though. So that's another great example. This is one of the best group of 5 games. Forget week 1 of the entire season, and we get it right out of the gate. I love this. The one thing I'm looking forward to most this college football season is week 1, because there's so many matchups like this where I'm going to get a good idea of how good these teams can be right out of the gate.
Who makes the playoff if it's not Boise?
That's a good question. Boy, I mean, if South Florida beats them right out of the gate, then they would be the leader in the clubhouse to start. But the teams, I treat this market like an individual market because I know one team's going to make it. It's almost like it's separate, like I treat it like a conference future portfolio. I bet, obviously, Boise's the biggest bet that I made because I do think they get in. But Navy's a team that I bet out of the American to make it. Memphis is a team because I think their schedule sets up. Toledo out of the MAC, I bet. I bet a long shot for a pizza bet Buffalo at 100-1. I think some people would be surprised by that.
Okay.
James Madison out of the Sun Belt, I bet. And I think that's it. Liberty out of Conference USA, just because, their schedule's so easy. I don't think Liberty gets the benefit of the doubt after that performance against Oregon a couple years ago. So I think after Boise, the most likely would be, the winner of the American. And then the third choice for me would probably be Toledo, which the market loves against Kentucky in week 1.
Now, Brad, I know you love betting the smaller conferences. Is there anybody at a big number right now that you think could win one of the smaller conferences that people should look at getting a bet in on?
Week 1, or are you talking futures odds?
Full season, conference championship.
Yeah, conference championship. Oh, wow. Buffalo is probably one that I tacked pretty early just because there's a trust factor with Jason Candle, even though they're the best team on paper that they've lost 9 times as a touchdown plus favorite in the last 4 years. Yeah. In the last 4 years, and 15 games overall as a favorite in the last 4 years. So, Buffalo and the MAC, was like 7-1. But I'm not, if you're asking for a guy to bet 50-1 type of teams, I'm not. North Texas was a team I recently bet 20-1 to win the American. I like their offense, and I think their defense would be much improved.
90 seconds left. You tweeted this out. You're a Notre Dame fan. I know trends don't pay the rent. Notre Dame's last 6 trips to Miami, 0-6, outscored 27 points per game.
Yeah, not good. Now, last 6 trips in Miami, playing Miami, they did beat Penn State in the Orange Bowl, but it hasn't been good. Longtime Notre Dame fan. It's been miserable there, including, a few years ago, they went down there, as the 3rd-ranked team in the country and got blown out. I don't think they're going to get blown out, but it's Notre Dame's toughest game of the season right out of the gate. So it's really good. I don't think it's a high value game right now because it's crossed through 3 for me. I'm not showing much value, but I think it's a great game to react to because I'll tell you what, if Notre Dame wins, I don't care. I'll lay minus 300 to make the playoff because they're making the playoff after the game. So I'm kind of looking to maybe buy low. Maybe they lose a close one, but still look good. Or if they win, then I think they're in. So I'm looking to bet Notre Dame to make the playoff after this game. Excellent.
You're the best, my man. We'll check in with you about a month. And thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
There he is, Brad Powers. Brad Powers 7 on X, BradPowersSports.com, and Recovers.com. Picks were coming up from Somich with the Travers Stakes, and bet the Travers Stakes with First Bet, the official horse racing partner of VEASAN. Travers Stakes, the marquee race of the summer schedule. You don't want to miss a second of the action. New users on First Bet can earn a $250 bonus bet when they use the exclusive promo code VEASAN250 when you sign up. If you're new to betting the ponies, or Mike, if you've been hitting your hand with a program, calling home your ride for years, First Bet, the best place to bet the Travers Stakes. Use promo code VEASAN250. Turn up to $250 in bonus cash now. FirstBet.com. Get it now, the bonus bet, $250. FirstBet.com. VSiN.com. And a ton of races and a ton of picks from Mike Somich coming up next on Follow the Money, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158.